puts you in the game zone, and basically you can select and basically like any Candy Crush-esque game, try to match these tiles. Now, the thing that isn't shown here is that this is actually a multiplayer environment. So even though I'm kind of playing it, other people on the scene will be able to see, and they kind of do have to get in line to play as well because it's kind of a point system, right, to be able to get these things. And yeah, just playing through, these kind of combos can occur. You get a lot of big points, and again, the goal eventually is once you kind of you get about 5 turns a day, and of course you can kind of like in the arcade game, you can put a few coins in and get a few more turns a day if you'd like as well. But overall, once you kind of play through and you get your points, what I have shown on this, well, not in the scene at the moment, but what we're working on to kind of finish the project off is to have wearables of all of these characters. And in Decentraland, what you can do is you can purchase wearables and put them on character, and in other lands, even in like different games and other plots of land, you will see them. It's a universal thing. And yeah, this is kind of our pilot project. As you see, we're out of turns now, so that's it. You get kicked out. That was pretty cool. And I think, yeah, beyond that, just to kind of show a few more things, I think Marla, we actually have to update our Tableland. I think the newer APIs came out, so we have to correct those, I guess is one way to put it. But at a time, we had a leaderboard running on the Tableland engine, and it would always read essentially your running points, so we get a high score. And one idea and one goal we had is like essentially whether on different lands or in other spheres beyond Decentraland itself, this is open data, so it can essentially be queried and shared, and everyone can kind of leverage it as they will, so to speak. If they want to kind of have co-promotions or cooperatives, like we're pretty open. We're just starting this. A bit more about us. We're DappHaus, a decentralized application, kind of evolving from a traditional. So, a lot of what we do right now, as you can see, is we're more so like creatives and putting together production products. And we're really excited about the new technology. So we've already been kind of putting little pieces of that into this. So I can give a few previews of some of the wearable heads we've been working on. So these are kind of fresh off the press. We're tweaking, we want to kind of get the cell shader look going as well. And they're kind of, I guess there is a perspective around them, but yeah, I'll have to get some 3/4 shots as well. Yeah, so that's one quick run through. I'll have to reboot the game again to get more turns on a different guest account. But any questions, I guess, while we're here? Feedback, thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to say this is super fascinating. So my name is Shandi. I'm part of the current pilot program. Our project is called Opal.
Mm-hmm.
But this is so cool to me because I've seen other projects that are attempting to build games from the ground up using Tableland. But
Mm-hmm.
you guys are using the approach of building new games in an existing metaverse or like a game platform, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool, and it shows how interoperable Tableland is.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for the feedback and the notes. Yeah, this is we're really excited. I guess that's all I have to really say. Because yeah, it's all coming up soon, and I think even beyond that, the back-end technologies that we've been creating, they don't only have to be manifested in Decentraland. We've also been working on other projects as well that leverage the same sort of platform technology. We're calling it D-Light for now, Decentralized Light. But we've been working on WebGL Direct as well. So building games direct with the WebGL platform with 3D. So building like base environments right now. And really, we're kind of trying to put together almost like a base set of tool sets that you would need to maybe accomplish all of the almost like expected features of this new environment, like rewarding, transacting with tokens, not just with fiat currency, for example, as a just it's a baseline expectation that these would happen, but it's not so magically immediately available, right? So adapting those. And yeah, and then in traditional more client-based games as well, we've been working with a couple of NFT projects in the Web3 space. One of the most notable ones, and I'll make a quick shot, but I unfortunately not able to demonstrate gameplay in the same way. But we're collaborating and building out for the Parallel Life NFT project, the card game. And I
Dude, I'm a
believe
huge fan of Parallel. So
yeah, yeah,
sorry to
yeah,
interrupt. So that got me really excited. I love
yeah.
cards.
Yeah, so we've been building out the engines for that are a little bit heavier, but you can sort of see there is, you know, it's a heavy traditional development project, if I were to say the least, right? And then on top of that, you can't the Web3 also is now another thing on top of that. And I think just to be safe, just because like I always have to remember why I can or can't share, but I think if you're interested you can definitely go to Parallel Life. The prime proposal is an interesting start to read in terms of how they plan to take traditional gaming experiences and integrate it with Web3 tokenizations. So that's an interesting place to start. And I know that if you're interested in any sort of gameplay aspects, there's a general FAQ that talks about the gameplay in itself. Um, I'll say right now off the bat, we're more so implementers of the technology. Like obviously I love playing Magic the Gathering and all these traditional things like Hearthstone, but we're there is a gameplay development team from the Parallel team as well. That's separate, but we're mainly bringing the experience similar to this, connecting the traditional technologies with the Web3 technologies and building out that. Going through here, you can get an idea of how the game is played in gameplay, right? How do you win, etc. I suppose I can say based off of these, that it's quite similar to a hybrid of, I'd say, a Magic the Gathering and a Hearthstone at the moment. Definitely a hybrid of those, and yeah, very excited to kind of be able to share that as well. But obviously from our end, the big thing in our today is Tableland and Dim Sum Heroes for sure. But as a group, um, what we're trying to build is something bigger, yeah, for that platform. Yeah. So yeah, I guess with any sort of new people around, I can run through another demo, but I think we're pretty okay for now. Thanks for listening in.
I'd love to hear more about how exactly you're using Tableland. Like, how many tables do you have? What does the schema look like? How
Hmm.
often do you update those tables?
For sure, yeah. So at the moment, the only production ready table is the leaderboard. And specifically the life cycle I would describe about that is that it's really funny how we kind of approach this too, right? So in this game, obviously you're collecting points, and sometimes the points get exhausted when you use them up on various goods because you trade them out. But we still wanted so we have that call it our not quite decentralized token, but centralized token for now. But then separate of that, obviously, maybe that would be a non-incentive for people to spend, for example, if they want to be on the leaderboard, for example, right? And the leaderboard itself is just a different life cycle. It basically gets updated at the end of sorry, at this our original plan was to have it update at the end of every player turn. So we got sort of it feeding into the grand total, the total that can't be deducted versus the total that we're keeping track of, which is your account balance, right? Mind you, we could always have done, double accounting, etc. That's all fine, but we really wanted to kind of use the technology and to make it independent. Um, I would say we initially ran into some challenges with this with respect to keeping, um, I think posting and posting requests, the asynchronicity of was a bit of a challenge. Sorry, not for the leaderboard actually, but for the other pieces we want to do. So, for example, we want to go as far as to have all accounts information, not just the leaderboard, stored on Tableland if possible. Um, which was fine. Like I think there's a little bit of a delay, but that can be handled. And if you get on some of the faster networks, that's not really a problem. The main challenge we ran into when we were putting out these Tableland tables was transactions. And I know that again everything moves at light speed in the decentralized world. So at the time when we were working with this, the way we would present it is that there is a level of asynchronicity in how accounts get resolved. So it's kind of like saying, I can say in my wallet I have 100 mana. I guess that's the tokenized for Tableland, and I can make a request to essentially like kind of was shown here. I want to buy more turns, right? And the challenge is that a lot of these transactions and these, I guess, the contracts for the actual resolution, either they're not instant or there's a challenge with checking that balance against either a traditional token balance. So there's a level of, okay, whenever they say buy, we can only really check at that point in time, hey, you can buy this because you have this much. But we haven't accounted for the fact that you may already have been in queue to buy something else, and this is outdated information. So that was one of uh, the challenges we ran into in trying to make this happen. And I think currently what we're doing is we're implementing essentially asynchronous transaction resolution. So basically, like, the theory is you put everything in the queue, and still it's a traditional server that reads each one and then double processes. Says, okay, you want this much stuff, you only have this much money. Okay, well, this one goes through. Next one comes through. At the time you said you could buy this. Well, let's check now again. No, you can't. So this transaction doesn't go through, and vice versa until it gets through your resolves your stack. And it's not the most elegant solution, and there are definitely workflow issues, which it can't really be considered, I guess, a full e-commerce solution. But I think that's our current uh, go right now with adapting for Tableland. But yeah, sorry, I know that kind of went off for quite a bit, but essentially, yeah, those were we tried to get them all, but I think the challenges with the synchronicity of some. Um, Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there's some database experts that have been doing SQL for the past 40 years that know more about
Mm-hmm.
asynchronous data freshness
Mm-hmm.
and queuing transactions to databases. I certainly don't, but it is an interesting problem, and it'll be interesting to see how developers working in Tableland can solve that.